This is episode number 308 of the Homeowners Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you with the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowners Show. We are so glad that you could join us for another live episode here in the studio. How you doing, Kev?
Man, it's a new year. Life's good. I'm just pumped, dude. We got so many cool things coming up on our show coming up this year.
Yep.
I think, everybody's in this new, it's like a whole new quarter of a century has come and like people's businesses are looking to take off. And I think that it's a cool time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel different than I did a few days ago. Yeah. How about you?
A new you?
A new me.
That'd be great.
Everybody wants that. Everybody needs a new me.
No, yeah, it does feel different. It feels there's like a certain amount of excitement, and we talked a lot about the election and stuff that happened. I don't know if that has everything to do with it, but. What's wrong with his hat?
Oh, that's the right letter.
That's the right letter. That's the right letter. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Actually, my wife and oldest daughter are in D.C. right now.
Okay.
So, and they were hoping to be there for the congressional swearing in, but they actually ended up going yesterday. And she was telling me, she's like, it feels cool here right now.
Awesome.
And things haven't switched over, but like there's not just like a weird air going on, and I don't even know how to describe it. So, but
yeah, I think that's the thing. Is it's a little bit undescribable. I don't know. It's yet to play out, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of excitement in the air.
Yeah, just to give people a heads up. I mean, I got a new toy that we're going to be reviewing, that Yamaha 4-wheeler, which I'm excited about. We use that for the business, but like maybe you're in the market for a 4-wheeler. I also got a new whole home generator that I'm excited to talk to everybody about. And yesterday, I installed a Shark AI robot vacuum cleaner.
Oh, nice.
Which thus far, pretty cool.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting
because you did the one, the mop and all that kind of stuff. This is just straight vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
But like it's AI assisted.
Oh, interesting.
So,
whatever that means.
Invited that Matrix nonsense into the house.
That'll be interesting. Well, we got a little freeze coming. It's going to be a soft freeze around here, a little bit harder up north. But I had the issues with the well last year, if you remember, and I'm actually going to make some adjustments. We'll talk about that on one of our episodes too. So,
all right. Well, as we get rolling, we got some sponsors today.
Absolutely.
First up, Lone Star Appliance Repair.
All right.
I think we have a lot of appliance fatigue still. I mean, if Thanksgiving didn't get them, Christmas got them.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, there's a lot of people out there going, that didn't work the way I wanted it to.
No.
Or if it did, it doesn't anymore.
Yeah. Well, and like they our longest running sponsor now, and there was a post I saw yesterday of a guy that was having some brown gunk show up in every wash cycle of his washing machine.
Yuck.
And just by having them as a sponsor, I knew enough to get myself into trouble.
There you go.
And engage and give him some tips. But but at the same time, if you're having issues with that, a lot of times people's reactions are, well, just chuck it.
Right.
And it's like, no, like get it repaired. Like if it's a piece that you like usually most of those things can be fixed, reasonably within a price range that, it's not going to cost as much as it would to replace it.
That's right. And you're not worried about like mismatched
there it is
appliances. And look, it's a pain going and shopping for appliances.
Nobody likes it.
And you have to wait for like Memorial Day anyway, because otherwise it costs too much.
That's right.
So like, it's so funny. I was listening to a comedian the other day, and he said, the holiday came around, and I realized what this holiday is all about, all the things around it. He said, this is the holiday where you buy mattresses. It's kind of the same type of thing, right? But they're expensive. It is most of the time you can save your appliance, save some money, and you'll be better off. So give them a call. Their number is 936-647-2364.
Yep. Or text them.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and the other one is True Texas Solar.
That's it.
Yeah.
And roofing.
and roofing now.
That's right.
Yeah, so you got the full package.
They do. They got all of it.
A lot of people don't realize how valuable that is, because a lot of times you're having to adjust your roof anyway when you put solar on the roof.
Yeah.
Or people are concerned that there's going to have leaks, and so it's good to have like a one-stop shop where it's like, if you have a problem, that roof needs to go ahead and replace that roof before you put that really expensive solar system on top. So make sure you don't have to take it off later.
That's right. And not only that, you can roll all of that under one cost.
Yep.
And get it all done at the same time. And they've got this really cool approach to the way they do solar, which is a whole home solution, including generator, backup batteries, the whole gamut. And really, as much or as little as you want or what you need, they're here to assist. And one of the things that I think is, going back to what you're talking about with the election and all the stuff around that solar has a rap, man. Like a lot of people have opinions about solar, but many of them are based on conjecture and things that they don't really know,
right?
Which is fine. I agree with the reason that I know why that is, but the truth is, True Texas Solar they don't like that either. Right. They don't like the scams. They want to get away from that, and so they're doing things right. They're helping people out. And it's a real Josh and his team over there, man. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, give them a call.
Give them a call, 936-286-8325.
Yes, and thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for using our sponsors.
That's right.
That's how we get to keep doing the show.
Let them know that you heard about them on the Homeowners Show.
Maybe they'll run a special for you.
Who knows? Who knows?
But we have a guest we've been talking about for a while.
That's right.
You want to let everybody know who you are?
Steve Berenson.
Steve Berenson. So are you the CEO? Is that...
Yep.
Okay.
CEO, yep.
What is the name of the company? I know the product is Krazy Klean, but...
Well, it's a division. It's a product of Krazy Klean Labs, which is owned by Berenson Partners.
Mm-hmm. So I want to... And there's some of that I want to get into later. I was reading up on you. You have an interesting business history for sure. But there's a little news story, and I wanted to get your take on it. This is mostly for Kevin's benefit with his longstanding love relationship with New Jersey.
Oh, perfect.
So, have you guys heard about the education laws that they just passed in New Jersey?
No.
So
please enlighten me.
They have removed all of the reading and mathematics requirements. Basically, you don't have to have a degree to get a teaching certificate in New Jersey anymore, and you don't even have to pass math or writing or literacy.
What are the requirements?
That can't be.
I promise you, there's an article.
What are the requirements in?
I call that fake news. That can't be.
Well, this is actually not unprecedented. States like Louisiana, you're not required to have a undergraduate degree. You can teach in Louisiana with I think it's a GED. So
my first response to that today is that might be a good thing.
It might be.
And then you can hire people who are really you want teaching your kids versus the ones that might be force fed to you.
Yeah. Right. So there's I'm going to ask you a question here in a minute, and I think I know the answer, but that's why I wanted your response to this. Kevin just hates New Jersey.
No, I don't hate New Jersey.
So everybody
New Jersey is fine, but there's some not so great places in New Jersey.
Jug handles are terrible.
Jug handles are. That's why can't you turn left? All I want to do is turn left. I got to make 3 rights to turn left. It doesn't make any sense. Come on, people.
For that reason, I'm out.
Okay.
He got in a little trouble online by making some comments about Camden.
Well, but Camden's a horrible place. It's a pit.
You have to wear it like a badge of honor.
Well, there's people there that love it, and they let him know.
Yeah, I don't know how they got through because I don't think they have internet there. So.
Right. Well, so here's I read the story and I did a little bit of research on it. And back in 2023, New Jersey was trying to address teaching shortages. They're having trouble finding teachers.
Yeah.
And so many states' responses to this is to lower the qualifications for incoming teachers. But what New Jersey has done that's a little bit different is they've actually allowed these people to get certified as teachers. And this is So anyway, and they were saying what was interesting about it is the union came out and said, well, these standards that we put in place are too high of a barrier for entry.
So like actually knowing something is too high of a barrier.
Right.
Which again, I look, there are a lot of really, my brother-in-law is a great case. The dude as a sophomore in high school made a 33 on his ACT, stinking smart, but college was not for him.
Right.
He's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Would
College,
probably be a great teacher.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He is a great teacher. That's not what he does full time, but he's stupid smart, and that's an ironic statement. Anyway,
We'll roll with it.
yeah,
It's fine.
he's very smart, and there are plenty of people out there that college just isn't their thing, but they know what they're doing. But surely there's some sort of like alternative certification or something that they have to go through, right?
At least according to the story, no.
Interesting.
So now there's everything is nuanced.
Sure.
There's obviously, but like that's not as
Nobody tells the whole story ever.
that's not as grabby as you don't have to have any requirements to teach in New Jersey, which is also true in Louisiana. And Missouri has some, like, there's a lot of states that have different programs to get teachers in and then get them qualified.
Yeah.
So that they can pass. But this isn't a new thing where like New Jersey's like, no, we just need teachers.
Yeah, I think all of this would be solved if you just pay them enough. Seriously. I mean, if you would pay teachers what they deserve, then maybe you'd get more people in there. But I mean, there's our teachers put up with a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
You send your kids, your little rugrats, 8 hours a day to school for someone else to take care of, which they're getting educated, all that kind of stuff. But they put up with a lot, and they do a lot, and they take care of a lot of things. You pay them enough, and maybe that would change. But either way, it saddens me a little bit that they're having to reduce requirements just to get people in.
Well, the way I read the story is we needed to lower the requirements so that people could have access to better paying jobs. That was kind of their reasoning. So, but what I wanted to ask Steve about this, I mean, like, I was reading up on you, and you obviously run several businesses now. So you've probably hired and fired quite a few people. When you've hired people, have you ever asked for their GPA?
What a great question. I never asked for the GPA, but I did ask a math question.
Okay.
And it's a real tradition in our family.
Okay.
And I learned it from my father-in-law. And every time he founded a great retail store in New York City called Gracious Home. It was a hardware store. It's not there anymore. But it was really legendary. There's some really great stories you would appreciate around that. But when he would hire somebody, since it's a retail store and you had to handle the register, he just wanted to make sure people could do simple math.
Sure.
So whenever he was interviewing, just general questions, one would ask hiring anybody, he would always ask everyone, regardless of the position, what is 6 times 9? Mm-hmm. And if you couldn't answer that, and he liked you, if you couldn't answer that, you weren't going to work the register.
Well, sure, that's fair.
And maybe you weren't going to do receiving.
Right.
But deliveries or whatever, so, but no, we never asked what the GPA was. Mm-hmm. And we never checked, people with great resumes or graduated these schools. I didn't care, really. More important was their life and work experience.
So,
wait, Craig. What's 6 times 9?
I don't math. My wife does the math.
It's 54. Okay, keep going. It's 54, but keep going.
Yeah. The reason I ask, there's a lot of entrepreneurs and business people that listen to this show because I mean that's a lot of our guests, and I know like there's a reason you don't ask that because you don't find it relevant to what you're doing in your business, I'd imagine, or you haven't found it to be relevant.
Well, I never had the highest. I understood what school was, what college was, but it didn't transfer. It was it's an accomplishment that those who graduate and get a degree at any level can, have that accomplishment and what comes with it, right? But as far as what we're doing in any job in any business, it's not that important.
Right.
You could, like you said, you can be, you can not go to college and be brilliant, or you can come out of school. And especially today, my opinion of the universities today is, as it was, I didn't want my kids to go to college anyway. And my wife was always upset with that. I wanted them to come to work with us.
Sure. Yeah.
And start learning real life. They my wife won, and they all went to school. But the universities today are horrible, in my opinion, for what they've, been, doing to what their agenda has been with their students and I would say the country at large. So.
I don't disagree with that at all.
I mean, it's one of those deals where what we've found to be true is that if you are a person who likes to learn, you can do anything. I mean, really, because most jobs that you go to, they're going to train you to do what they want you to do, how they want you to do it. It does not matter what you knew previously. I
had a problem with an amp, a receiver. Excuse me, and I'm not, I grew up with Radio Shack, but I didn't, become a electronic, technician. But I turned on YouTube. I said, I got to be able to fix this.
Yeah.
And I just took off the hood and I fixed it.
Oh, really?
I learned, what the problem was right on YouTube.
Figured it out.
So, you really can learn easy.
Yeah.
Anything you want to do today in greater detail, and depth than you could ever before.
Well, there's a reason they call it YouTube University.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
And honestly, like more people go to learn there than they and probably learn better things than they do going to a university.
Yeah, because they're learning. Even listening to you guys, people learn. They should trust you more than they might trust. Certainly a commercial on TV, or
anybody on HGTV, honestly.
Right. Well, I don't want to bet.
We're going to take those guys down.
I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say anyone on TV, right? But I don't know. There's we're changing who we trust in our culture. Who the authorities are.
Yeah.
And so folks like yourself are becoming more trusted authorities than your traditional, newspaper or whatever promotions that are happening.
Well, I mean, if we learned anything, if we learned nothing else from this last election cycle, that is absolutely true. Like the dynamics of authority in media have dramatically shifted.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, and like these institutions that have been up for years that have been controlling the narrative. And you can think that it's a good narrative or a bad narrative, but they've been controlling the narrative.
I don't see how you can think it's a good narrative.
So
it doesn't matter where you fall, politically. I don't understand, certain things that have been happening for the last, 4 years.
Yeah.
So, or however many. So I don't know. That's become a thing. It wasn't like that for us growing up. It is now. And I'm worried about the grandkids, the kids.
Well, I think that things have changed so much with technology that everything is more available. So people's lives are more available. When you were growing up, you couldn't just go online the next day and learn everything about everything that happened 20 minutes ago. Now that's possible. And so I think that, like you said, the trust signals are very, very different in our life, and social media changes everything, and podcast and other news outlets that people couldn't get to CNN or Fox or whatever. Now you can be your own news outlet, and you can present the truth as you see it. And so it's a very different world.
That changes the subject a little to the effect that technology is having on us personally, and all that it impacts. But the subject of what's happening politically, right, where the narrative of the media is what's changed is when we were kids, all of those initiatives, that were aspirational and virtuous, right? Civil rights or other expansion of liberties and fairness and mobility in society took a lot of work and investment and effort. And now, but what I feel has happened now is that there's a point of diminishing returns, and now it's become deconstructionalist. That the effort and all the efforts and money in politics are the engines for that. So in the 60s and 70s, all of this organization and money came into, strive to make the world a better place, education, economics, all in every way. And now we after accomplishing a lot of that, these organizations have become machines, and they have to keep feeding itself. And it's come to way past the point of diminishing returns. Now I consider the parties on the verge of deconstructionists, not Democrats, deconstructionists, not Republicans.
Because you have so many different terms even within those structures, right? I mean, because like liberal means something different than
liberal.
Democrat.
Yeah. There's no liberal. The Democratic Party is not liberal anymore. It's leftist. It's being influenced by the left. So, and then that's just un-American, in my opinion. So we have to, as long you can have a liberal point of view or a conservative point of view, if we are still building something together.
Yeah,
we could disagree, but we're not deconstructing the pillars of the American way and the American lifestyle. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So we're not building anymore. We're deconstructing. We have to get back to building together, even if we disagree on the extent. We have to agree in principle. Public safety is valuable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and not to be like too heady on this, but like, I mean, because I think you bring up something that I've been talking about for a long time, which is I think we're seeing the back end of teaching postmodernity philosophy in schools. Which is like that there is no truth, that you have your own truth, rather where modernity was like, for its faults said that, we could learn things, we could build things, we could understand things. Postmodernity tells us like there is no structure, that there is no truth, that, that truth is found within, and all these kinds of, in my opinion, nonsense ideas. There was aspects of it that I thought were really good, where like we did have to like sort of, deconstruct ideas, but like as long as we were coming back and saying like that's a good idea, that's a bad idea, instead of all ideas are good, all ideas are.
Yeah, you can deconstruct ideas while you're constructing something.
Yes.
Right, but we can argue and debate that. But this kind of comes to, you can make the case strictly on the move to remove God from the society, remove God from the classroom,
right?
The teachings of religions, and that's a complicated thing because, I mean, it's very complicated, and there has to be liberty, to and from. Like you don't have to observe or be a religious person, but you also can't excommunicate from the culture those that equally want to be.
Right.
So this is a point where it's gone to such extents where you can make a case, a very strong case in front of any jury that process, coincides with what we're experiencing today. Can I share one little?
No, yeah, please.
And I'm sorry if just do this if I'm going wrong.
No, you're carry on.
But I read a book in the '80s called "Closing of the American Mind." It's one of the best books I ever read.
Who wrote that? Do you
that was Alan Bloom.
Okay,
he was from the University of Chicago, and he makes this whole case about education and everything. But he makes such a prescient argument that goes as follows: that the American dream is, misinterpreted as, we're all equal. Everyone's equal. And what was happening in the universities are stripping away, they were trying to strip away the things that made us different. And we'll just focus on what makes us, just homogenize everybody that comes to this country. And we'll focus on that, separate ourselves from the things that make us different. Well, his argument was, as a philosopher, is that, well, the mechanisms by which we teach children morals and ethics are from your cultural traditions.
Right.
They're not from school. We didn't create school to teach
morals and ethics. Yeah.
Morals and ethics per se. That you get from your culture and your traditions. If you are going to systematically separate our children from their cultures and traditions, eventually the moral and ethics will be the law.
Right.
And that turns into a moral that will turn into, he predicted, a moral of what you can get away with.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your morality in this country. If you go along this cancel culture, homogenous, if you don't celebrate our differences and you separate it from our traditions and our heritage,
right,
you're going to separate ourselves, the things that provide morality and ethics. And you're left with a legal moral, which is the lowest level of society, and then well, whatever I can get away with, that's okay. That's not okay.
Yeah, it also creates a dispassionate culture, right? Where like rather than what can I do to make my community better, to your point, what do I have to do in order to avoid penalty and all those kinds of things.
Well, I think we see that in the social aspect of life too, because I just have to accept you for who you are. rather than try to learn who you are and understand who you are and try to figure out how I fit into that or disagree with it. But instead, it's like this whole you do you thought is, no, I don't have to know anything about you because you are okay just the way you are. I'm okay with that. You're okay with just the way you are, as long as it is I'm learning that and I'm understanding how we all fit together. And this, what you're talking about, deconstructing, we see it everywhere. But I think what's happening, and to your point, Craig, of it, like moving past this postmodern era, is people are tired of that. They're tired of this idea of, wait, I don't get to be someone. I can just be me without having to fit into anything else. Now I'm lonely. Now I'm separated.
You're in the abyss.
That's exactly right. And I don't like that. I don't feel comfortable here. No one wants to do that. They want to be in community with other people. And so it's this weird turmoil that we find ourselves in, and somewhere it's going to have to change. And I think like you said, it's starting to come around.
Yeah. It's the pendulum swinging back.
It is.
It has to be. I mean, I really think, the way I express what's happened in the last year is, miraculous. Like we're seeing. I think these are miracles. I mean, at some level, you can say just being alive is a miracle, right? But in a broader context or in a more specific way, the pendulum is swinging backwards, and it's necessary to preserve the American way.
Right.
That's what we're focused on.
Yeah.
In the larger context, maybe the American liberty that we understand can't survive globalization because if we, Americans don't necessarily, by nature, we don't have to be on the grid. I don't have to be plugged in so you know where I am at all times.
Yeah. Right.
Our privacy and our liberty are number one, and that will become a threat to a government that can't know what you're doing where you are. You're just going to be labeled a threat.
Yeah.
So how do we create a modern American liberty that is connected to the the DNA of this great country?
Well, I mean, there's a big reason that you're seeing social platforms growing like wildfire that are focusing on things like making sourdough or homesteading and having chickens,
right?
And like all the and so like growing your own independence away from this thing that we a lot of us have to live within. So and I do think that there's a certain amount of growing reactionary life that's happening in our culture right now. I mean, there's a reason I think that you're seeing a lot of Americans return to orthodoxy, even though they may not necessarily believe in God. Like they like, they like that. And like you look at guys like Jordan Peterson. I mean, this guy's doing, hours and hours and hours with intellectuals sitting around a round table talking about the Gospels. And he's not even necessarily saying that he believes in God. Like he almost refuses to say outright whether or not he does. But like people are tuning in to understand what's happening in that conversation.
First of all, I think he says that he does.
He's kind of gone back and forth. Right. I mean, the way he says it is, I try and live in such a way as if that were true.
Right. Well, he's a...
Yeah, and I understand why he's saying it that way.
Yeah, it's very philosophical.
Yeah.
Because there are schools of philosophy that will say that they can't be sure the sun's going to rise tomorrow.
Right.
At that level, it's insanity.
Yes.
I think it's very difficult to have a satisfied mind.
Yeah.
And it's also difficult to reason with those people. I mean, you know what I mean?
Nailing Jello to the wall.
Like,
yeah,
because at some point, you got to look at life and go, okay, what?
Right.
I'm not going to go there because I don't have time for that.
I'll be up at sunrise working. So.
Right. You do you. I'm going to be out there with the sun.
Right. Exactly. That's where you do you actually does come into play.
Well,
it's like I don't think I can understand anymore.
Well, I mean, listen, to a certain degree, I'm perfectly fine with people like that existing because I'm going to beat them.
Sure.
Like
it's easily
competitively.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So because I'm willing to operate in a certain amount of faith,
right,
that they're not.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I love talking about this stuff.
No, I do too, and I think we could go down this road for a long time. But I think it all plays into Steve, you being on the show today because Craig actually just, as we were talking before the show started, our feeds kind of show up with homeowner show type stuff these days.
We've curated it.
That we have,
Yeah.
and we Craig came across your product, Krazy Klean, and we just reached out and said, "Hey, we'd love to try this," and you were gracious enough to send us a sample, and I want to bring you on and let's talk about that, because business is really the backbone of America, like the ability for commerce to exist, small business, yes, for commerce to exist, and for us to be able to create and build and grow our own thing, whatever that is, and so what I'd like to do is I'd like for you to tell me a little bit about how you started. I actually I have a video of how this began for me, and so we'll show that at some point, and then I've got a post review as well, and we'll kind of go with that. So talk to us about where this started, who you are, like where this started, the crazy idea maybe behind Krazy Klean and all those sorts of things.
Wow, that's a long time ago. Well, I basically would say I grew up in the business. I grew up in New York.
Okay.
And I met my wife in high school. And as a kid, I worked with my dad, and I used to go into the city and work with him. I started working when I was 8. So I just learned and was exposed to business, small business at an early age. And then I met my wife in high school, and I was going to propose to her in 12th grade, but I knew her parents wouldn't let her say yes. But I told her, and then she went to Michigan, I went to Northeastern, then we transferred to finish together. And
okay.
we got married in college, but her dad had created this great business retail in New York. And I had an opportunity. They had moved to Miami, so we ended up opening a hardware store, a True Value hardware store in Miami.
Okay.
And I dropped out.
What year was that?
That was 82.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he dropped out of college, and and then Diana would go to school and then come to the store, and then we would just be shopkeepers in the hardware store. And then that was our daily life. And then we built this, but then other business developments start to happen, product development. My father-in-law is like this, to me, he's like Yoda.
Okay.
Right. He's just this incredibly, this crazy intelligent person, like your brother, right?
Brother-in-law, yes,
your
sir.
brother-in-law. And he was just this old-time business guy, and, I learned so much. So we got into all these, business opportunities, and we started to do them. And whether it was we accomplished certain things, and built some product lines and brands, and started really just focusing on selling them locally in the Northeast, and mostly with True Value. That was our True Value was very influential in my life and teaching me the values of business. Hardware I loved. My father was in the garment center business.
Okay.
And I didn't like it because it was so full of crap, BS.
You mean the products themselves, or
everybody?
Okay.
It's a fashion business.
Okay.
So there's so much BS going on, and I was just, I was a kid, so I didn't have any, say or anything. But I noticed that, this is, kind of BS versus, my football coach. I like that better than I did, the fashion business. And hardware has a great culture. Completely opposite of fashion.
Yeah.
I'm not bashing fashion. I mean, I sound like I am. For me, it wasn't good. It fit. Hardware was great, solving problems, being straight, no BS. And so I just got into developing, product lines for hardware and housewares. And we did that for many years. And I'll tell one story real quick, just as a, on behalf of my father-in-law, just to demonstrate how amazing a man he was, and he is, but the businesses that he had. And we had created this picture hanging line called OK Picture Hangers.
Okay.
And it's that one with a little blue steel nail. It doesn't, damage your walls, and you'll recognize it if you see it. But we were selling True Value and Ace, and then we sold Home Depot. And we were doing so well in Home Depot, they had a national meeting. They brought us in to, one of the buyers brought us in there at the last minute to the whole national meeting. So the whole company would see us, like 30 people in there. So I didn't know what I was doing really, and I went in there and with an assistant that I brought, and even my family, they said, "Why are you even going to this?" Like, so because it's just picture hangers, right? So anyway, I go up there, and I'm in this meeting, and it was belligerent. People were just attacking me, and I finally got fed up with it. And this one older guy starts saying, asked me a question that was inappropriate. I said, it's really none of your business. That's just none of your business. Like, what do I pay my salesman, or what do I pay for rent in my warehouse?
Right.
If you don't like salesmen, I defend the salesman,
Sure.
and it's none of your business what I pay for my mortgage, right? My rent. So anyway, he said, can you do me a favor, step outside? So I go, sure, but he wasn't coming with me. I took my sister and we went outside. And when I get outside, I tell her, listen, I don't want you to be upset, but we're going to get kicked out of here now.
Yeah.
That's what's coming. So just when you go trying to sell picture hooks, you get kicked out of a lot. No one wants to talk to you, right? It's true. It's not personal. Mostly it's not personal.
Mostly it's not personal.
Sometimes maybe. So, so we go inside, and as soon as they open the door to let us back in, the whole room, there's at least 30 people there. Give me an O. Give me an O. Give me a K. What's that spell? Look, the brand that we were selling.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I'm glad this is my testimony for the ether that I thought it was a Twilight Zone episode. I really thought it was.
Well, you thought you were done. Yeah.
I thought I was done, and now I go, what is going on here? He goes, well, we made a deal. I go, what deal? I didn't even give you pricing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No, we're going to work out the pricing. We want to bring your line, these items into all the stores. So I go, wow, that's great, Okay. So then we start packing up, and I walk over to this woman that was next to this older guy, and I go, hi, I'm sorry, but can you tell me who this guy is? And she goes, oh, this is Pat Farah. I go, Pat Farah, that rings a bell. She goes, yeah, he's one of the founders.
Oh gosh.
So I go, oh my God. I was just fighting with this guy. He kicked me out of here. I go, I gotta apologize to him. No. He really loved that you were fighting with him. It was great that you have the passion and you were defending. You had character, right? You had conviction. He liked that.
I was going to ask you. I mean, it sounded like he was testing to see if you had any chutzpah. I mean, it was
I did enough, and she told me not to apologize to him. So I go, well, why did he ask us to leave the room? He goes, well, he wanted to let everyone know that we were from the family that founded Gracious Home, the store, my father-in-law's store.
Wow!
Because they send all their buyers to go to New York to see that store.
Oh, really?
Wow!
Now, what higher praise can you have in the world from the founder of Home Depot selecting that store to help to show buyers what they can do in hardware?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. I can't tell that story to anybody. No one cares or even can understand the context, frame of reference.
Yeah.
So it's just such an amazing thing. So I was just blown away by that, and it just says all. That's enough to let you know how tremendous my father-in-law is, and I'm really grateful for all that I learned from him. So, anyway, that's who I worked with basically my whole life. One time, regarding the Krazy Klean, we were in the office and we bought used packaging machineries from a plumbing company. We were in Miami, and he was selling the plumbing company, but he had just developed this new cartridge for plumbers. And
your father-in-law?
No, the supplier.
Oh, the supplier. Okay.
He was a plumbing engineer.
Oh, okay.
And he, sold his plumbing company, but didn't sell this new product, which was at the time a small cartridge that he gave, for plumbers to prevent scaling wherever they worked, they wanted to, just prevent scaling in what area they were working in. So my father-in-law called me in and asked me, what do I think of this? And I said, well, we're in retail consumer products. We're not in the plumbing business, but I started looking at it and thinking about it. I realized, well, in the discipline of marketing, which my school is like Reese and Trout, which is something we could talk about, but narrowing the focus, let's say, I realized if you put that in a toilet tank, theoretically, it would prevent the water that came into the tank from staining the tank and the bowl. According to the plumber, that's what he was presenting. So I said, well, under that basis, I'll do it. And he said, yeah, okay. That my father-in-law agreed, and we started to develop it. And we really couldn't sell it because Tidy Bowl was 89 cents retail. So when we're offering a solution to keep your toilet from staining, and people are using 89-cent toilet, and this was $5 for $10 retail at the time. So, but we had friends from our other business in the department stores around the country, and I was talking to one of them. They were on the buying team for the new Joan Rivers show that she started, Can We Shop? And QVC was her partner. So they said, yeah, we'll present it at the committee. And I said, well, all right, whatever. I really forgot about it. And then I get a call that it's Joan Rivers loved because she's nuts about her dogs, fearful going into and having to use the blue chemicals. So they want to put you on the air and bring you on to Joan Rivers, Can We Shop? So then we went on there, and we became the second best-selling item on the show.
Oh, wow.
And it
was called something different then, though, wasn't it?
It was called Toilet Clean.
Toilet Clean, okay.
And my father-in-law, at the end, she invites up my father-in-law to drink from the toilet water. Drink from the toilet, which he did, because it adds nothing, takes nothing away. There was a new toilet. We had 2 new toilets as props there. And so, but we just took the tap water and he drank it. So that night, or the next night, Jay Leno made a joke about it on the Tonight Show.
There you go. That's all you need right there.
Yeah. But anyway, QVC saw it. They wanted to have an exclusive. Then we ran on QVC for 10 years. And then QVC, one of the new CEOs came about, and he was like an engineer, and he took many things off the air. This is what I understand, I didn't investigate it because he took our product off the air. Because we couldn't have third-party testing that showed how magnets prevented minerals from staining. And there was and the FCC was being very on top of QVC. So they just, we were one of those easy things they could take off in dealing with the FCC.
They were trying to appease them.
Yeah, they were trying to. So what happened was a few years later, I ran into somebody who was from the food business, food safety, who knew all these companies around the states that test for these things. And I was talking to him. He said, well, no, I know companies that have diagnostics today that I think can do that. And then we sent it to them. It was in Western PA, Pittsburgh area. And they tested it and, were able to show and demonstrate how the magnetic field damages let's say, the outer electron ring of minerals, and that they won't scale anymore. It doesn't eliminate minerals, it prevents them from scaling.
Right.
So even if you leave the toilet sedentary, minerals, depending on the pipe, the line of water coming in, and we get more into detail about this, but it disables them from being able to hard scale. That's what a magnetic field does. It's not a question of if it works or not. It's a question if it works for you in your toilet. And then there are remedies in case there's a higher load or high concentration of minerals, what we have to do to mitigate that. But in essence, that was the launch. And then we we wanted to make it stronger and change it so that it can have more area of influence in the toilet by its design. And then we came up with this Krazy Klean. And then COVID hit, so we kind of put that on the back burner. And then when COVID started to clear, we launched it, and it's been doing really, really well, but mostly because people are ready for, like they want to go grow their own food, and start opting out of the previous 70 years of the type of business or lifestyle we've been living, used through chemistry and all that stuff. But so if you opt out of your bleach or your toilet bowl cleaner, you can opt into a way that with very little or no work, or even just a little work, once a month, you don't need any chemicals, and with one tissue you can keep your toilet clean. It will never stain, and it really will. We warranty it for 10 years, but there's a version that is warranted for lifetime, and in fact, even the one that's warranted for 10 years. We could, it could last a lifetime if you don't have an abuse of, really bad water, but.
So there's a different product other than this one that we have on the table that's lifetime?
We're coming out next.
Oh,
That's like some of the things coming down the pike.
Oh,
We
okay.
decided it's more expensive, right? 'Cause
Sure.
it's stronger, but it's been so well received, and some people have asked about that.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to make it available.
Wow.
So I want to go back a little bit to what was it, 92 when you went on Joan
Yeah,
Rivers?
yeah.
So what was the decision? Because I think you guys ended up making like your mom like the spokes
Oh, that's
or the
just-
face of the company, or
Boy, you've done your homework.
what was? I mean, no, it was.
You didn't look up my SAT scores. did you?
No. Oh, I have connections, not those good of connections.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So I mean, like, what was? Because she ended up going on Joan's
Yeah,
show,
that,
right?
that was, and the dad will tell you, like, gosh. So I went on myself and my father-in-law the first time,
Okay.
and it did so well. I get a call from the show, and I don't tell these stories, so it tickles. My mom, my mom's gone, God bless her, but it's a fun story to remember. And the show tells me, we want to put Joan on. We were the first product that we're going to run a second time.
Wow.
Toilet bowl cleaner, right? So I don't know. Anyway, I go, come on, yeah, we do. So, but we can't run the same thing again. We got to do something new. So the committee was talking like, can we talk to some people with testimonials, and do testimonials? Well, I go, it's brand new.
Yeah.
You're the first people who's selling it, I go, well, I have my mom has tested it. She lives in Queens, she could be a test. Technically, she has used it for, probably a year when we started developing it.
Yeah.
He goes, so then a little pause, and the girl goes, can we talk to your mom? And my first answer was absolutely not. Under no circumstances, I'll be out of business immediately. Right? And I thought about it. I go, you know what? My mom, she grew up with that. She's going to love Joan Rivers. She'll be so tickled if the show calls
Yeah.
and says, hey, you want to be? And, my mom's not going to want to do it.
Right.
So like 2 weeks go by. I'm in Miami. I get a call. And my wife and I, we worked together our whole life. And, your mom's been booked to come on the show.
Like they had talked to her, or they just booked her and hadn't told you? Or
Oh, no,
her?
they talked to her.
They talked to her. Okay.
They had several calls I knew nothing about, and they booked her on the show. And I was like, are you kidding me? You want to know what? You want to know why? How am I going to tell my family, my in-laws, my wife?
Yeah.
Because they're cured business people.
Yeah.
Like they're not. No one would choose my mom to go on and be a spokesperson. Like she was a housekeeper, right? She was
Right.
a homemaker. Wow.
But maybe
She went on.
Uh-huh.
She went on.
Yeah.
She went on the air, and she was a smash hit. And she the best way I could say, she was like the mother in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And she came out and she was really hitting it off with Joan, but being herself, with these phrases, and then Joan Rivers, why should we believe you? And she
Yeah,
goes,
sure.
And my mom's like, because that would be false advertising. What do you mean, why?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here saying, because she's an older generation,
Yeah.
the greatest generation.
Yeah.
So
What I say is my word, and
100%.
Yeah. So
I
just-
wouldn't be here,
Right.
And neither would my son if she didn't. If it
I wouldn't let it be here.
exactly.
She was ready to throw with Joan.
Yes, I mean she was nurturing barely, right? She was a nurturing person, but she was tough.
Yeah.
So anyway, she says it's great, and the thing did great, and it was really a blast. And then what we ended up doing was we put in those products, and we made a sticker, because it was 5 years warranted then. And we had my mom's picture on it, replaced in 1997.
Yeah, I saw some.
Right.
I saw some of the print ads online. I mean,
Yeah, right.
they look great.
Yeah. It's really phenomenal. It's an amazing story. And at the time when we decided, I didn't have any great expectations. It would just be a useful product for folks in the early 90s that were environmentally conscious,
I gotcha.
concerned. It was a thing, right? But when we did some, very low-level focus groups, and one woman said, listen, I don't care if it's good for the environment. If it's not strong enough to kill a tree, I'm not interested. I want my toilet clean.
Yeah.
She didn't care about the tree,
Sure.
Interesting.
right? And so that was then, and I was just amazing to discover that the toilet bowl thing, was such a the market was so responsive to it. Consumers are so responsive to it. And you never knew that. It's really a job everyone hates to do. They argue over doing it. They're embarrassed for this or that. And, so many aspects of it, bless you, and are just a very, very interesting case study on behavior science, right, in general. But, that's basically how my mom got involved with it. It was just crazy, and she did great.
Well, and so then what caused the name change? Because it was Toilet Clean and now it's Krazy Klean.
Okay, I'm glad you asked. Right, I know you have a talent and interest in marketing, right? A skill and whatever.
Well, I've been told I'm okay at it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you are. Got me here, right? So, so I originally when I was I dropped out of college when I got married. And I always felt I had an inferiority complex that everybody I'm competing against knows more than me. So I would just study on my own. And when I was studying marketing, there were so many, a broad spectrum of opinions that, the best of the best nullified each other. It's like in advertising, more copy sells more, less copy sell more.
Yeah.
Well, copy.
Right.
Right. More words sell more, less words sell more.
Right.
More pictures worth. Anyway, I had settled in on these two called Reese and Trout. They wrote the book Positioning: The Battle for Your Mind.
Okay,
it's a must read for everyone on everyone on Earth. It's translated into so many languages, but it is the last great work that the even today all of communication is built on. Advertising, marketing. And so I just if I wanted to have, Texas Rangers were in a team back then, but, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays' autograph, I would write to the team and say, hey, I want this autograph. I was like that, when I read the book and then this came and I was working on it, I go, wow, they had come out with a book called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. So I was like, wow, this checks all the boxes. So I go, I wanted to call them and say, thank you.
Yeah.
And I did. And I asked, is there any way I didn't know what to name it. So I go, was there any way I can have a conversation, with either Al, or Al Reese or Jack Trout. And I got a fax the next day with a quote of what it would cost. Right. It was like $10,000.
Oh.
I didn't have the money. Right.
Sure.
So I said, what would it cost to talk for a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Right. And I get a call, and it's Jack Trout on the phone, and I'm on the phone with Jack Trout, and I can't believe it.
Wow.
He goes, "Are you going to be in New York soon?" Yes. Yeah.
That I can figure out.
Yeah. So, we're gonna. Why don't you come up? When? I go. I look like, how about Friday? Or next Monday, whatever. But it was like 2 days later. He said, come up to our Connecticut office and we'll talk. We'll see. Don't worry about the money. So I go to the office and we're just talking. I'm telling him how it happened and all this. And, it's Al Reese and Jack Trout, and we're talking. And I see Al's not doing a lot of talking, but he's just, I don't know what he's doing, but he's scribbling something. Then I finish, and Al just takes off and gives me these pages, and he has named it Toilet Clean, chem-free Toilet Clean, and a whole branding idea of what it should look like. And they said, here, good luck. After 4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours.
And didn't charge me a penny.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So I was like, I have to pay you. We pay our way, And they said, no, just, good luck. Let us know. So, a few months later, they're doing this book tour where they're on all the radio stations. And I was invited on to Can We Shop with Joan Rivers, and I wasn't sure how to package it or whatever to do, and I called them. And I said, can I have a second cup of coffee? And I said, well, we're doing this radio thing. Why don't you come up into the studio? And then I went up, and they escorted me in while they were on the radio, and this whole entourage there, and I'm in the studio with them. They're treating me like their kid, and it was really special. And then they gave me some ideas on how I should do it, and we went on, and we were very successful, right? So now here we are all these years later. And that's just such a thrill for me that really was, have their input.
Are those guys still around?
Jack passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
But Al's still around.
Okay.
So in 2019, when I was getting ready to, repurpose it.
Yeah.
I said, hey, Al did it the first time, and I know he's in business with his daughter, Laura Reese, in Atlanta. I go, why don't I, let me see, let me give him a call. Come on up. He remembered me.
That's awesome.
Wow.
We were talking 30 years later, maybe.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I go up there. Now, the daughter's involved, so she runs a business, so this time I paid. But, God bless her, but she gave me a really good discount. And they made I went up to Atlanta. Now, Al was 94 at the time.
Oh, wow.
And they made a full presentation to me as if I was, Clorox. Mm-hmm. The whole thing. And then we settle down, and he makes his reveal on what he thinks we should call it, and he comes up with Krazy Klean. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I had a similar. I can't go home and tell my family it's Krazy Klean. They're going to think like it's as seen on TV, like
right,
Ron Popeil or whatever,
yeah.
like I didn't. And I told him, I go, I'm agnostic in that area. Like I'm going to take. I don't know what's going to be a good name.
Yeah,
and I don't even care if I like it or not. But that's going to be hard to sell, and I got to let you know. And he said, listen, there is no second choice for this. I'm not giving you an alternative. This is what I want to name it. So I said, that's what I'm doing then. Because I'm willing to have this thing fail out of respect for you. If you wanted that, my loyalty to you is so profound.
Sure.
I'm going to go with it. And if it fails, then I won't second guess it.
Wow.
That's how much I trust Al Reese, right, and Laura Reese. So I went ahead and I got the predictable response. Krazy Klean, really? That's it? Not Farfignugan, but we went out and it turned out to be the right name. So Al passed away shortly thereafter, within the year.
Really?
So it was kind of like his last job.
Oh,
wow.
Which I'm sure it wasn't, but I was in the group of the last work he was doing.
Sure.
And he's a hero of mine, so I'm really honored to have had that experience. And that is
it's his baby.
Yeah, his name should be on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. If people haven't seen, I'll show in this camera over here. This is what it looks like. And actually,
well, that's the packaging.
It's the packaging.
Yeah, it's packaging.
Yeah,
the packaging is great.
Now we have had people who bought it and put the tube in the toilet.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! No, there's actually something inside this tube. You open it up, and there's something. And I actually
you can open it if you want.
When I put it in. Do you have a knife on you, Craig?
Always.
I'll let you open it. And let's take it out and look at it. I actually did a little video review whenever we first got the product in my house of me opening it up and kind of doing a reveal and then putting it into the toilet. And I basically said, look, we'll see.
Right.
We'll see what's going on.
That's all you can do. Because there's no color. So
right.
the downside is people are used to seeing something working.
Yeah, it's not like it doesn't turn the water green or blue.
After that moment you drop it in, like there's no more like reinforcement feedback that right. Now you're like, yeah, you don't have that. That's one of the weak parts of the item that.
Well, you'll see whenever I drop it into the toilet bowl, you'll see that it just kind of settles in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And honestly, what was really cool about it is I didn't even have to reposition it. It
right.
kind of I don't know if it had a homing signal or what, but it just kind of went to the corner.
No, that's why we designed it that way.
Yeah,
we changed the design with that spout so it would settle down.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely perfect. So,
by the way, have y'all ever heard the Howie Mandel bit about the blue water in the toilet?
No.
So where he's staying at a hotel and he goes to the front desk and they ask him how his stay was, and he says the stay was great, but the blue water at your hotel doesn't taste as good as the one at the other one.
Which is so funny coming from him because he's such a germaphobe.
I think it was like a Ritz-Carlton or something. And like those guys just have to like just like roll with it and be like, well, I'm sorry, sir. Or it may have been him making a phone call. It's like the blue water doesn't taste as good as it did last time. Yes, sir. We'll send somebody right up to.
That's so good.
Right.
That's so good. All right, open that sucker up.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah. And by the way, we're gonna give some of these away. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
There we go.
All right.
Ta-da.
There it is.
That's it.
So that's the product. I'm going to play the clip here, and we'll go from there. So let's see what it says. All right, I'm here in my bathroom with a new product that we're going to be testing out. The new product here is called Krazy Klean, and I just got this in the mail. Krazy Klean, and we're going to open it up, see what's going on. So we live on some land that has a well, and our water is really hard. The water is actually really good, but it's very hard. And so because of that, I'm going to show you what our toilet looks like. We clean our toilet every week, but it doesn't really matter how hard we clean it and how often we clean it, we still have these toilet bowl stains. So here we are. So yeah, I mean, this toilet's clean. We just have these stains in here that are kind of in here all the time. And maybe you understand what we mean, but we're going to find out how Krazy Klean makes everything different. I went ahead and opened it, but let's see what's inside. All right, they sent us 4, 2 for me, 2 for Craig. And it says that this permanently prevents water stains for 10 years. On the back here, tells us all we gotta do is lift the toilet tank cover and drop it in. Made up of just magnets and this back domain casing, whatever that is, not sure. 10-year warranty. Alright, so we're gonna open this thing up, see what's inside. Alright. Okay, it's not too large. Okay, it's in a bag. That's it. Alright, and it says we just drop it in here. There it is. And I guess we leave it in there for 10 years. So, we'll see what that looks like. All right, so that's it.
So now tune in 10 years from now.
That's right. Well, so in a minute, I'll show you the follow up because just yesterday I took another video, but we put it in 2 different toilets in our home. Craig has put it in 2 of his toilets in his home as well, and I'll tell you just what we found. So I mentioned it in the video, but we live on a well, and just recently we had our water tested. Our water tastes great, but it's incredibly hard, which just means there's a lot of minerals. And so we get this scaling. We get it on our toilets. We get it on our faucets. We get it in our showers, all over the place. Right?
Normal.
It's just normal. Yeah. It's just what it is. And so we have to figure out what do we do. And it is a lot of cleaning. My son and my son is responsible for cleaning the toilet in our room, and he just turned 10, so he's young. He's in there going, how long do I have to scrub this thing to get it clean? But he's been telling me lately, he's like, Daddy, I don't have to clean this. It's clean. And so it's really incredible. And what you were telling me earlier is that it's chemical free. It's just this magnetic field.
Yeah, it's just magnets. Like it's a hydromineral magnets that will last in water, and they're positioned inside, so they remagnetize each other.
Okay,
that's why they last so long.
Okay,
it's like rechargeable, but they recharge each other.
Interesting.
And since they'll last indefinitely in water, it's just a stone, right? That That's it. That's all it takes. That's what water treatment facilities use. Originally, in steel pipes, the rate of scaling would, render the pipe useless in a short amount of time. So they used to put these big magnets around the collars around the exiting the water treatment facility, so that they would pass through this magnetic field, and then it would reduce the rate of scaling 90%.
Okay.
Right, because it just if it passes through, it's affected. Like
It just breaks down. It breaks down that mineral.
Like anyone you put in front of the sun without sunscreen is going to get a sunburn after a certain amount of time. So it's like that.
Okay.
And that's a very simple, low technology.
Yeah, but and the thing that I love about it is that it's not introducing chemicals into my home. It's not introducing chemicals into the water, because that's the other thing. Because I live on a well, I also live in an area that I don't have, regular water treatment for that, and so we dump everything into a septic.
Yeah,
and the septic has to get treated as well, and so every time we dump chemicals into our water, it goes into the septic. That goes back into, we have an aerobic system. So the sprinkler goes, that dumps it back into my yard, which eventually goes back into the water that my well draws from.
Yeah, it's great.
So there's this whole ecosystem that happens. And so the less chemicals I have to use, the better.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's why it's so good. It's really the resistance that we found was typical. Like, it's very the behavior science is like consumer is like the consumer. Why did they buy it? Like, there was lots of case studies, but let's take a dandruff shampoo. It's not Head and Shoulders, but I forget the name of it. And they would put this chemical in it to make your scalp tingle, like eucalyptus, and then you'd feel it tingling, and and the effect was you thought it was working.
Right.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the dandruff. It had no benefit for the dandruff. It was a signal that it's working. The same thing with the color. Most of the toilet bowl cleaners are mostly color. The efficacious chemicals are gone very quickly after a few days. Like, there are some good brands that last longer, but there's still chemicals going into your system. A lot of families, parents, new parents with young children, they opt out of using them. Families with pets, dogs, cats, they like to take water out of the toilet, so they opt out of it. And this is a very simple but elegant solution that could bring, families and people back into having a way to keep their toilet from staining and scaling. And the more challenging part is to get people to give up they feel like if a guest comes and they see blue, they feel good about the toilet. I have a clean house, Right. We're thinking about offering an organic coloring feature onto the product, so that it'll keep the not like a harsh blue, but like a sky blue, so that there's something there for the folks that want to have that for a guest room or something, and it's important to them.
Sure.
So we're playing around with that. That might be available this year. But otherwise, it's just getting people. And also, in the instructions, I'm not sure if you did this, but it says to clean your toilet first.
Yeah.
We actually did.
Yeah.
So that whenever I said this is a clean toilet,
right.
it's because I had just cleaned it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in that regard, there are toilets that have such a history of having that appearance and cleaning of even after you clean it, there's still a little not visible stuff that remains that'll grab future stuff. So it could take a few times to cycle through. And also, if you have every pipeline to a toilet is different, so you don't know what's in that pipeline,
right?
And if a toilet is being stubborn, that means it's not scaling's appearing too soon, even though it's not going to stick. Stain, discoloration's appearing, even though it's not a stain or a scale. You can wipe that away with a tissue, and if you can add a booster, and that'll leave 1% of the 1% of the toilets just are overwhelmed where, it's not economically feasible to use this.
Sure.
But even so, the folks that have that, they keep it and they just, a lot of them stay with it and they just use a little tissue. Literally, a tissue will clean it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a change of behavior that takes longer.
I think that is the biggest thing that I think with any change is doing something different than you've ever done before.
Yeah.
I think marriage does that to you more than anything else, right? It's like, well, we didn't do it that way. And it was like, well, that's wrong. And it's like, it's not wrong. It's just different.
Yes.
And so trying to learn and accept those differences.
Well, now I'm so happy I got married at 20.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 'cause you didn't have those preconceived things.
I don't know better.
Yeah.
I recommend Mother Nature is smarter. If you have a chance and you meet a sweetheart and you're young, I would say stick to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually surprised that like home cleaning companies haven't caught on to this, because we've been using it in our house, and I know the gal that comes and cleans our house is super happy because she doesn't have to spend as much time on the toilet cleaning it, because I'm not doing it. But like it's one of those things. I think it helps to talk to somebody that's actually used it, because I was telling Kevin a couple weeks ago, I sold one of these on the street to one of my clients, because he was asking about the show, and I was telling him, like, you were coming in town, we're going to be doing this, and he goes, "What's that?" And so I showed him, and he's like, "This thing's supposed to last 10 years." I was like, and he's like, "Does it work?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've had it in my toilet for like a month and a half, and it's cleaner than it's ever been." And to that point, I was watching. I looked up to see if there was any other reviews online, to see if anybody else had done. There's one guy that's done a pretty substantial review. The other ones were kind of weird. It was like a Russian gal and some gal from like India or something. They weren't very good, but this guy did one, and he was complaining. He was saying for him it didn't work so good. But as I was watching the video, I was like, I see the holes in the review here. He was saying like he kept getting dirt around the ring of the toilet, but he also said, like, look, it just comes right off. And I think that's something that you guys use in some of your online
Yeah, we
stuff.
try and educate people.
Yeah, it's not as sticky as it was before.
Yeah, there are people that are. It's been I never did e-commerce, and I'm fascinated by the temperament of the marketplace. And there are folks that are just make a living or a business out of, I want to say, trolling is the word.
Yeah.
And I'm not being defensive, because we know it's not possible for the product not to work. It would be like, if I have a magnet and I'm going to pick up a paper clip, and now I ask you, is this magnet working? It's working, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Now I take off the paper clip and I try and pick up a 10-pound paper clip. The magnet's not going to lift it. And I go, is this magnet working?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not strong enough for this.
Yeah.
Right. So there are cases, probably, less than 1% of our customers have had this frustration where boosters have pretty much wiped it out. But even, and then, there are cases where that happens. But even when the case where the discoloration reappears, there's no staining or scaling.
Right.
The thing cannot not work.
Yeah.
It's physics, it's science, But
I'll tell you one of the other things in that particular review that I thought was troublesome was he had a separate bidet unit attached to the toilet. Well, that water never goes into the tank.
Right, so that's exactly.
Yeah, and so
then you're bypassing the filter,
yeah,
right?
And
so to speak.
Yeah, and so that was an issue. And I bring it up just because I want you to have the opportunity to address it, because he's gotten lots of views on it. And in the comments, there were a lot of people that said, yeah, but if you use something like that, it's going to ruin all your gaskets and you're going to get a leak in the toilet.
It's the opposite.
So, well, okay, yeah.
Right. The chemicals erode the gaskets and the flapper and, inside. It's the chemicals that erode that.
Right.
There's no chemicals here. It's complete. This product prolongs the life of your toilet parts. I'm telling you, as a True Value, Home Depot, historical, guy, like, this is the opposite. What they're saying is completely wrong.
Right.
Chemicals ruin that.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
No,
I tell people that all the time for our stuff. I mean, like, the chemicals erode plastics like crazy.
A lot of times they'll expect it to clean. If some, let's say, as some jokes have been made, Uncle Louie visits the toilet at a party, and he leaves a lot behind. Like why
As
didn't
Uncle
why
Louie
didn't
does.
why, why didn't Krazy Klean fix that?
Right.
No, it prevents water from staining and scaling.
Yeah.
Right.
If you put dirt in there, you're going to have to clean it.
Yeah.
Right. That's
you know,
just
the other thing that I found that folks are, I don't know if they're aware of it or, I mean, obviously I can't prove it, but the product is made in China. Mm-hmm. Now we've been in China for 40 years.
Right.
And everybody has products. Use Apple phone, iPhone, or any phones. They're made in China. Like,
Absolutely.
it's hypocritical to be virtue signaling by saying
Made in America or whatever. Yeah.
or no, just saying it's made in China. It's no good when
Right.
everything you're living on, your computers and all your technology and all, it's just even your medicines are coming from China, right? Now I'm very pro-American in general.
But we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, and I'm willing to make it in America, but it'll be 4 times the cost.
Right.
Right.
Now, and I will be, and I will have that as an option, and I'll put it out there. You can choose the American one, the same specs.
Yep.
But it's going to be more expensive. People, and I'll be happy to put it out there and do it. And I want to do it partially. I'm going to do it because politics, the Chinese business people and the American business people don't have a problem with each other. Mm-hmm. It's the political system that is, the politics of this world is so crazy. I'm not defending the aspects of China that are un-American.
Right.
Right. But the business, they've been a very, very loose they've let capitalism, so to speak, flourish over there for 30 years. And now they're arresting it and the way they're advancing their and dealing with the world, things happening in the world that is, unacceptable, right? But they, that is a problem. So if there is an issue God forbid that the world goes into further chaos and we can't do business with them, then, I want to be able to make it here.
Right. Yeah.
So furthermore, there are no magnet suppliers in the U.S.
Really?
They all come from China.
Oh, interesting.
So I have to, in that regard, to have redundancy. We're building a mold here, and my mold maker in Florida is sourcing the mold in China.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but we have to be able to make it here. But
Right.
then we have to have warehousing of millions of magnets.
Right.
Because it'll take it's going to take a long time for U.S. supply. We're going to have to get it from other sources, but China's world dominant on magnets.
So I'm going to expose some ignorance on my part. How do you even make I assume you have to make them.
No, well, you do. You basically you get this rock material, and then you melt it and shape it.
Okay.
You form it. That's how there are many different types of magnets, but fundamentally the magnets we use are heated, melted, and then formed into shape.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's shocking that we don't.
Yeah.
It's shocking and not shocking at the same time that we don't do that here.
Well, it's kind of like why get into that business when they do it so well over there?
right.
I mean, it's so
one of
much cheaper. They have a 100-year, 1,000-year plan. They don't think they're on different. The Chinese culture is. It's hard for Westerners to understand. For me to understand when I first got there, because I would say they're amoral.
Right.
They're not. They don't have a moral compass, or Western ethics. Mm-hmm. People. Regardless. It's Western ethics, and we know really the wellspring of that.
Right.
So they don't have any of that. So it's so Americans would come back thinking that, well, the Chinese lie to you. And actually, it's true, but they don't.
They don't see it as lying.
Well, they don't see it as lying. They're telling you, they're trained to satisfy you,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And then that's what they understand in the cultural divide. Mm-hmm. Now that's changed, right? Because we have a lot of quality control there. Decades of quality control led by the Walmarts of the world and
Right.
the Apples, and the Nikes, and all the companies have developed quality control there that's very rock solid. Now China's light years ahead
Yeah.
of Vietnam or any other those Eastern countries. But we've lost the competency here because we outsourced it there, as if China was Florida or Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Walmart, and it reminded me. I wanted to ask you. I think I was reading up on it. I think Toilet Clean was available in Home Depot at one point in time, but this is not. Right? I mean, this is not a retail product.
No, we haven't released it to retail. We have not released it to retail. And that's an interesting subject too, right? Which is... I
was going to ask if that was like a business decision.
Well, it is. I don't know what to do.
No.
I'm being honest with
yeah.
you. Like, I'm sure... it's like my whole life experience is useless now. Right? Because unless I can, structure... and I can... I've been a vendor to all the companies in America, right? And I can I can organize myself to serve them the way they need to be served, right? And make a profit at the end of the day. Not a great profit, but that's not the point.
Sure.
You have jobs, you have families, you have business. It's we're doing something with a purpose, and the point is that it's becoming increasingly difficult to make a profit at retail, through distribution, which disturbs me. So the pressure is, well, we should grow the e-commerce platform, go international, expand the brand, build the e-com, serve the consumer where they want to shop, right? And I want to do that, but I also bleed orange, right? Because I'm a Home Depot. God bless Lowe's, right? And Menards, I love them. But Home Depot, they gave me an education with my father-in-law. That's my biggest educations are from them. I got in with Home Depot in the 90s. They only had 3 or 4, less than 400 stores. So I learned everything. A great deal I learned from the founders and the original leadership of Home Depot. And it's the best I haven't seen anything superior to it yet. From a business perspective, right? The way that the culture is, and I still love them. But we haven't gone to retail yet, and I don't know what we will. I'm holding myself back because that's what I'm an animal to do.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
You know that.
I know that, and I want to do that. Like, I'm proud to be a vendor to True Value or Home Depot or Walgreens or HEB.
Right.
But we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I think it's challenging because with the invention of the internet and with commerce being so online, I mean, I'll tell you, my number one place to go to find anything is online, right?
Everyone goes to Amazon. We're not on Amazon either.
But okay, that was my next question.
Yeah, because I think that it's just, first of all, it's at your fingertips. You can get it in 2 days, which is crazy enough. Sometimes faster than I can go to Walmart and get it. Right. Even though there's one on every corner where we live, but by the time you decide you need something, find which product you want, and then purchase it and install it and whatever it is, you can order it and get it there a lot quicker. And so I think it's one of the things that, companies like Home Depot, like Lowe's, like Walmart, Target even, they've figured out a way to survive in a world that Amazon exists.
Well, they've developed their own e-commerce.
They have had to.
Yeah.
They have had to.
Or bought e-commerce.
Yep.
I mean, that's what Walmart did, is they just bought one.
Right. And so I think that's the challenge that any small business owner that has a product to sell, that's not a digital product specifically, but a physical product to sell, it's the challenge of how do I get it out to the masses? And I think podcasts like this help, but how do I get it out to the masses, help people understand what it is, educate people about it, which, by the way, where are they going to get educated? Online. Yeah. They're going to get educated through YouTube videos. They're going to get educated through podcast or through, going online and looking at your website. And so they're going to go there, and then they're going to look for where they can buy it. And frankly, going to Home Depot is more trouble than going on your website and just ordering it from there. You're already there.
Yeah, some things happen where it's hard. We would go to Home Depot just for fun.
Yeah.
Just to see, is there a new toy or what to do? Like, Depot was built on fun, and they had experts there. So the person of the house, we used to say the woman in the house, but the person in the house.
It's very PC of you.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
person in the house that, let's say, didn't know how to fix something and had to go and wasn't going to do it themselves, but needed help. The expert Depot had experts that would, build a whole project for you and help you get it done right. You can go there to talk to a master plumber and electrician. Just as you go to the supermarket, you can talk to like a
Produce guy,
produce guy that has his own farm, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Depot was tremendous at that, and they were fun. They were just it was just a fun place to be. Now, that's changed a lot as they've used less associates, but it's hard no matter how much fun you have in a Home Depot. I know I'm going long on this. Can it compete with the fun you have at home in your pajamas ordering online? Like, I don't know if any environment can compete with getting you to the store, unless you have a hobby like, I'm still going to go to the music store.
Right. Yeah.
But I will also go to, Dream Guitars or Carter, Vintage or whatever,
Yeah.
But, or the great Alamo Guitars and San Antonio. I'm sure Houston has some great guitars.
Rockin' Robin's probably the most famous one around
So,
here. Yeah.
there you're going to go because
Yeah.
it's part of that's really a passion of yours.
Yep.
But, fixing a lamp, or
Yeah, I don't know that there's much that can compete with like the dopamine hit of buying something online.
Right.
I mean, it's just
That's it.
They've engineered that. I
Right.
mean, like it's baked into the system.
well, maybe they have to start serving alcohol.
Hey,
And
it's
go
not
to
a
Home
look,
Depot. Or sharing the alcohol.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But I think that the point though too is like even these physical stores, they all the ones that are doing it well have online ordering. So you're still not walking through the aisles
Right.
the way you used to.
Right.
Because I can literally just order it, drive, pick it up. I never had
That's
to
right.
walk into that store.
That's right.
So you're still, even if you put something on a shelf, you're still going to battle the consumer mindset of I don't have to walk into that store if I don't want to.
We were the smallest, we were a small family business, right? And we had all the big guys coming after us in the picture hangers, right? And they asked, how the heck did we manage to survive against all the big companies? And, we knew the answer, which is, the founders of Home Depot knew the answer by sending everybody to the Gracious Home, right? And the answer was that everything takes force. Like we would do things for the traffic that other companies could never do.
Yeah.
So when you came to the set, we had things going on that were just extra efforts that most companies wouldn't make.
Yeah.
Right. And because we knew we didn't measure success one sale at a time. We measure success by creating the probabilities of a second sale. It's really a merchandising
Right.
concept, right? And but you need traffic.
Yeah.
So I no longer, if I'm not getting the traffic, everything starts to, decay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It absolutely matters. I mean, to your point, there's whole restaurants that have put their marketing around that very thing. The first time you show up to a restaurant is probably because you were invited. And the second time you go is because you liked it so much that you said, hey, would you come with me?
Right.
Let me show you this place that I went to. The third time they show up, they went on their own because they liked it that much.
That one
once you
dish,
Once you get it to the third time, you've got them for life. They will keep coming back. And so the question is, what dessert do I have to give away? What appetizer do I have to give away? What is that third thing that I have to get away to get them here the third time that they will show up forever and ever and ever? And so to your point, it's that is the consumer mindset, and it is baked into us. It is drilled into us without even knowing why we believe that Google is the authority on anything is because Google has done a great job of convincing us of that.
It's positioning.
It's
When
positioning.
you learn positioning.
It is.
That's it. It's very hard to change a person's mind on that number one spot.
Yeah.
And Google was the classic positioning case. Of just a white screen with a search box.
That's it.
When you say Google, historically you said search.
Yeah. Well, to that end, I want to show the result of my. So yesterday I did another video that kind of demonstrated where we're at on this, and it's one of those things where you've got a lifetime product, pretty much 10 years. I mean, many people don't live in their home for 10 years.
I was gonna say, yeah,
or maybe they decide to remodel their bathroom and whatever. So 10 years is a long time.
Yep.
It's almost a lifetime.
I know people in the company argued against us doing it.
Yeah,
but it is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, let's see here what I have to say. All right. Well, it's been 2.5 months since we installed the Krazy Klean into that toilet right back there, and let's just see what it looks like. I mean, the claim is that it's going to reduce that rain that is created by hard water, and as I told you in the last video, our water here is extremely hard, and so we don't have any water softener, we don't have any filtered, it's just straight well water, and so we have that problem, and this Krazy Klean product claims to be able to take that away. So let's see what it looks like. All right, y'all. The Krazy Klean's in there. And let's open this thing up, see what it looks like. 2.5 months. Holy cow. Seriously, look at this. I mean, there's some leftover stains from a long time ago, but whenever you look at what this looks like compared to that first video, maybe we're gonna flush this so you can actually see. Like, y'all, that is incredible. In comparison to what it did look like, I mean, all this stuff that you're seeing, like up here on the rim, that stuff is left over. But we don't clean this that often anymore because we don't have to. That stain stays away. Pretty incredible. I'm sold, y'all. This is a much cleaner toilet bowl, and I can guarantee we will be putting this in every single one of our toilets. I mean, that doesn't surprise you at all, does it?
No. I mean, no. It surprises everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it's the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, y'all, I didn't do anything else. I just dropped it in there, and I didn't go in there with any pumice stone or anything else. I didn't have to.
Well, the pumice stone will get rid of it.
It'll get rid of those other stains. So I've got some work to do, but as far as the scaling that was there, it's removed it, and it's none other is forming at this point.
It won't unless something changes in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the water.
Which you should. I mean, you're on a well.
Yeah, you're on a well.
So
the variable's out.
Which was, I think that was why we tested it the way that we did, because Kev's on a well and I'm on city water here, and so like we wanted to see the two different kinds. And I need to get some more because like we have 5 toilets. On the
we've got 2 more. We've got 2 more at another home on our property as well. So we need to get a couple more. Yep.
But so like we've talked about where you can't buy it. Where can you buy it?
Well, you just go to krazyclean.com.
There you go.
And you'll go to just pick that's it really.
Krazyclean.com. And I don't mind. I don't think we have any aversion to tell it. It's about $30.
Each one like $30, $30. Depends on 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, you can order multiple and
different packs depending on how many toilets you have. We guarantee it. For 10 years, we've had, customers call and originally, let's say they didn't order it, right? Mm-hmm. Or they ordered it, somebody was upset they ordered it and spent the $30 on it. Mm-hmm. We'll tell them to keep it.
Yeah.
Right. And then or somebody has a problem, they don't think it works. Like we had the case where the person put the tube.
Oh yeah,
did you?
Yeah, right. So this is an old true value principle, which is that it's called destroy and field.
Right.
When you have a defective product, then you don't make the store or the customer return it. You just give them a credit.
Right.
And up to a certain point,
Sure.
And as long as you have quality products, you're not going to have an epidemic of defectives. So we did that like with that customer, and they they came back and said we told them to keep it, use it properly, and then they love it, So then they become an advocate
for the product.
For the product. And it's a learning thing. If people are skeptical, so many people, the environment for the skepticism is so awful. It's like the anti-business climate that's evolved over the last 20 years, is so sad. And it's related to how we teach in school, like in reality, the capitalism is the highest form of value creation for the world, right?
Right.
And
it's lifted more people out of poverty than anything. Yeah,
and it's designed to include, efforts for, even the disadvantaged and the poor. So that has been lost and people hearing me say that might think that's just, I don't know what I'm talking about, but that is the designs of modern American capitalism. Is the most virtuous form of economic system and governing the world's ever seen. So
now the market is genuinely honest.
Yeah,
and you'll know whether or not you've got a good product.
Good business is honest.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you. So I'm from Florida,
and
kidding. I actually grew up in hardware stores. So I think my dad actually competed.
Which one?
Scotty's.
Oh my God.
Which they've been gone for years.
But I know, but I remember Scotty's.
Yeah, I grew up. I mean, that was my after school hangout. Was the back storeroom of the Scotty's.
Best. Yeah, that's great learning, great exposure.
He ran Scotty's all over the state of Florida.
No kidding.
Yeah.
My goodness, that was legendary.
Well, yeah, for a while. I don't know what it was that finally killed him, but
it was Home Depot. Pretty much, like
once they moved in.
Yeah, the economics. You have to be a really, really good operator of a hardware store, right? And that's hard. That's another thing. Home Depot was a big disruptor.
Yeah,
and unless you were a merchant, not just a hardware store, but something, it's very difficult. And the True Value went bankrupt.
Right.
They're not around anymore. And there's probably out of 5,000 Ace Hardwares that remain, I want to say 500 great operators, maybe less.
Yeah.
And you really have to create relationship.
Yeah,
that relational. It's almost like you have to be that hometown.
That's what they
store,
are. I mean, those are
exactly.
more hometown hardware stores. I mean, which I love.
Sure, absolutely.
And when I say great operators, I mean that can result in enough of a profit for them and their families.
Yeah,
it's not about them as business people per se, because there's so many conditions. But it's really hard, to compete against Home Depot and Lowe's, and Walmart, just everything changed,
Yeah. I think that'd be like my only thing is I almost would hesitate to put this thing on Amazon just because
I'm not,
because I wouldn't want educated morons putting comments on it that don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's not the main reason though. The main reason is that Walmart was new when I was a kid on the national scene, and they were known as, category busters.
Sure.
And remember back, I don't mean, there was, because of Walmart, the sales rep business went out. They wouldn't pay sales. They forced factories to not pay sales reps.
Right.
They wanted the 3, 5, 7, 10%. And that's just the force of the competitive environment, right? So that's what Amazon is today.
Yeah.
Like they're a category buster. They have conflicts of interest. Like they'll compete against themselves.
Sure.
They'll curate an environment that puts downward pressure on your product. Now,
that's the Amazon Basics brand. Basically, is they're finding what's performing well and then copy it and put it in as their
right.
Yeah.
So now for the greater good, I think Amazon is the best company in the world. I admire what they've done. I'm not an Amazon basher.
Sure.
I just, I'm not trying to become an empire.
Right.
I want to preserve the value of the product.
Yeah.
So I didn't sell our hardware at Walmart because they were just going to drive the price down.
Right.
And I didn't want to participate in that. We
Yeah.
we wanted to develop merchandising that takes money to educate people. And if I go to Walmart, they'll take it away.
Yeah.
Same thing with Amazon, you know.
Yeah. So you're not going to be able to, you're eventually not going to be able to run your business the way you want to run.
Right. And I don't have to have the biggest business at all, you know.
Yeah,
Just have
I'm with you on that.
Healthy, profitable business, and that's it.
Well, you made a good point, and no, we're gonna wrap this up here. But you made a good point. Is your price point is what it is, and I'll tell you right now, it's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't find it unreasonable at all.
I agree. But in order to educate people, in order to spend the money it takes to develop it the right way to do it, you can't drive the price down. You have it's not volume doesn't help that.
No,
because you still have to produce it. You still have to do all that. So you have to have money on the front end to be able to educate.
We advertise on Facebook only.
Yeah,
it's crazy expensive.
And it's effective.
It's very expensive.
It is expensive.
It's super expensive.
But it's it is effective, and it results in being a disciplined supplier, and organizing yourself to serve Meta, right, and be of service to Meta, and how they operate. You can make a profit.
Yeah,
but they are very expensive too.
They are. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Yeah. Well, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you thought, man, I really want to say this about the product or the company or anything like that?
No. I think you guys covered it all. I mean, more than I would have imagined.
Awesome.
That's a lot of great quality time. It's about changing, looking at it differently, and giving. Chemistry was great for 50 years and making life better. Processed foods was great, and reducing hunger and starvation. It helped build a great economy, and there weren't originally it wasn't nefarious motives.
Right.
It became nefarious when big business said, "Don't tell them that this ingredient is bad for you."
Right.
That money political game corrupted a virtuous effort. We should have been evolved out of these things before, but we didn't. Now we know better. So you can get out of the chemical habit in your toilet and look for other areas to do it where you're going to have equal to or better than results. Right. That's all.
Well, you can simply go to KrazyKlean.com. That is crazy with a K and clean with a K. And I'll tell you, we've got 3 products here that we're going to give away.
We'll send you more.
Okay. Well, we've got plenty of products then. And here's what we want you to do. We want you to just share our content and tag the Homeowner Show and tag Krazy Klean in it as well. Share the content, and we'll enter you into to a contest to be able to own one of these and
check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
So
we really appreciate you taking the time out of your
schedule. It's been my
schedule.
pleasure, man.
I mean, I know it was a special trip, but we're glad you made it.
No, me too. I'm really happy to have met you guys. I think what you're doing is great. I love the show. I love the format. You guys, I was just hoping maybe we'd get a tune out of you or something, but
we'll do that off air.
Did you write the opening jingle?
I did. Yeah,
I knew it. I could tell. I do want to say one more thing.
Yeah,
because you opened up talking about your wife being in DC.
Yeah.
Well, and I live in Miami. Mm-hmm. Well, the only I supported Morgan Luttrell in his effort for Congress.
Yeah. Well, that's the congressman from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why and I am a supporter of Morgan Luttrell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I just, I was happy to come to this part of the country.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just to,
no, he's fantastic. We actually, we got to have dinner with him right before he got elected the first time.
That's amazing.
And he's an incredible person.
He's an incredible. This country needs leaders like him.
Agreed.
Hopefully, he'll cut a path to.
I think he is.
Yeah.
That was actually part of the trip this time. They were hoping to get to see him get sworn in this time.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out. But they were in DC. She actually did send me a funny picture yesterday. I think you guys would appreciate it. She sent me a picture of the Department of Education. And she goes, just for posterity, in case it doesn't exist in a couple of years.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Anyway, God bless the Luttrells.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. It's been a long show, but it's been a good show. So thank you all for listening, for tuning in. If you haven't already, please go and like our channel, especially on Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe over there. Leave us a comment. Also, a rating and review on Apple Podcasts would be great. Thank you for Krazy Klean and all that's going on. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.
See ya.